Rope God. Uh-oh. I'm kind of afraid. Uh-oh. Oh no, he's holding through to his name.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
What's up, YouTube? We'll be taking a look at what might be the strongest Ekko deck around today. This one is Akshan Ekko Infinite Hexite Crystals. This deck was originally built by TealRed, a genius Japanese deck builder, who also played this deck on the ladder with some great success, apparently more than a 60% win rate, and was able to climb quite a bit with it. And the core idea of this deck is all around the Hexite Crystal that is generated by summoning a fallen feline. This card, of course, is incredibly strong and can turn the tides of a game entirely on its own. But if you do end up copying it multiple times and then drawing it multiple times, it can really take over. And that's what the whole deck is built around. Apart from that, the deck isn't really all that strong. It's really an all-in crystal combo deck. You'll notice right away that almost all of the cards are somewhat centered around predicting in some certain way. I'll just start off with explaining all of the cards. Of course, Scrying Sands has a predict on it. Akshan Landmark is basically also mainly used for the Relic of Power to predict a card. And then the Warlord's Horde will usually be used for Font of Power to draw more cards, just to be able to cycle through your deck to find more and more crystals or cats that generate those crystals. We have Aspiring Chronomancer as more predict cards. We have Iterative Improvement to copy our predict cards. We have Time in a Bottle, which predicts on its own and it advances our landmark that eventually predicts. Time Trick predicts. Vagabond summons a landmark that predicts. Station Archivist is something like a predict as well. Keep in mind with Station Archivist, you want to have shuffled your crystal into somewhere else in the deck first, right? Because when you play a Fallen Feline, it gets summoned in the bottom 10 cards of your deck, but of course Station Archivist looks at the top 5 cards. So when you play Feline, you first want to predict, your deck gets shuffled, and then Archivist can grab you those crystals. And even Ekko, of course, is mainly here to predict. Of course, he's also super easy to level in this deck. I mean, 2/3 of our deck are basically there to predict cards. He usually levels in deck and he already gets played as a solid card, solid statted card that can put out some pressure by attacking and predict more. And it's also fairly easy to find chrono breaks with this list just because of the amount of predicts we run. So the only cards I haven't really touched up on yet were Ancient Hourglass and Shaped Stone. Shaped Stone just as a versatility combo trick and to stabilize on the board a bit, but it technically also helps us with predicting because it's a great tool to advance the Warlord's Palace. And Ancient Hourglass, a bit of the same idea, but it has a lot of added utility. Keep in mind that if you put that on a feline, you get another crystal. If you put it on Akshan, it doesn't only count as a Warlord's Palace tick already, but Akshan also gets resummoned and it counts as another countdown stack. Same happens if you put it on Vagabond. Targeting your ally is already 1 countdown and resummoning the Vagabond is another 2. And oh yeah, I think I haven't mentioned Clockwork Curator yet. Of course, same reason. It's basically just getting closer to a predict, but also has a 2-mana 2/2 body to it. And one tech idea would be maybe Ancient Preparations, but in reality, we want to be looking for Fallen Feline in the mulligan super hard, so we'd prefer to play that on turn 1. Ancient Preparations is not really worth it. Most of the other cards deserve to be in this deck even more. So let's talk about the general game plan. I already mentioned we want to mulligan very aggressively for Fallen Feline, but I would also keep Akshan in the opening hand and maybe a Vagabond if we don't have any other early play. And at the beginning, we basically have 2 goals. So one is, of course, to get a crystal and predict as early as possible to shuffle it somewhere to our deck or to find it as quickly as possible. And as soon as we find it, we want to copy it with counterfeit copies, and then basically, usually after 1 counterfeit copies, we'll already have enough crystals in our deck to take control of the game, that we just need to fish for them through either more predicts or through Station Archivists and so on. The other thing that we want to get going in the early game is the Akshan Landmark. We try to turbo level him just to have the added versatility of Relic of Power, to have the added draw, or to even get the Warlord's Horde counted down to 0 as quickly as possible. Of course, both of these things take a little bit of time. It's gonna take a couple of turns until you find enough crystals or until you get the Warlord Sword. And to basically stall until then, we play a lot of cheap and mana efficient units. The whole deck has a very low curve, and as soon as we kind of have a couple of units on the board, we can then flip the board state with a couple of crystals. That means we just remove our opponent's entire board, deal a lot of damage to their nexus in the meantime, and then with one big swing we can finish them. Ideally, at that time, Ekko is already going to be leveled. We might even help that whole process out with some chrono breaks. So the core idea of this deck is basically to get very unfair combos, basically broken combos, pretty soon in the game, like sooner as you would usually expect those to happen. But I will say right away, this deck is incredibly hard to pilot, and you can be very, very creative with it. Just because it has so many choices available, there are also a lot of choices you can take and a lot of ways you can go. So it really requires some thought, some planning ahead, and understanding the matchup and knowing when you really need to go for the crystals and when you flood the board, when you have time to predict a lot, and so on. So if you're a beginner, this might not be the most effective deck for climbing, but it would still be a very effective deck for learning the combo playstyle of the game and learning a lot of card interactions and starting to think ahead, plan ahead, and so on. But if you're already an experienced player, I do think this deck is a lot of fun. It has insane amounts of player agency and of skill expression, and if you're good at playing this deck, you will surely also climb with it. And part of the reason this was built, at least TealRed himself said that it's supposed to counter Lurk and to counter dragons. I'm not quite sure if that's actually the case. We don't have enough win rate stats with this deck yet because it's a very fresh concept, but it did feel very strong overall. I actually went undefeated with it, although I didn't play a lot of games, like 5 or 6 I think, but I just felt like you could gain so much of an edge over your opponent through clean play. And as always, I have some nice and educational gameplay examples for you from my stream. Alright, Dragon. So according to TealRed, this should be a good matchup. Let's see. We have the cat. We're looking for more cats, or Akshan or Vagabond. Classic streamer luck. Classic streamer luck right there. What the hell? I should do this more often, especially in tournaments.
I do not break rules, I bend them slightly.
I mean, the only reason I dropped out of the Worlds qualifiers was because I did not do this. What an amateur mistake. This is such a good opening. We just need one predict at some point in the near future and we're fine. Oh, this... I don't like this attack by my opponent. This allows Akshan to open attack. And if my opponent sharp sides, I can Hourglass. Feline, iterative feline, or I just Hourglass Akshan right here because it's 2 stacks for the palace. Opponent probably plays Screeching Dragon next round. Thick Shiv incoming. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a Screeching Dragon. Iterative here should be really good. Copy Dragon Show. We need a Dragon Show. I disagree. Although a 1/4 would be pretty cute here. Okay, that's actually a good draw. So I'd probably go Relic into Vagabond into Hourglass. nasty. I don't even know what to get here. I guess predict is good for next turn.
What was theirs is now ours.
We'll just go for 2 landmarks. We'll probably get to count them down fairly quickly. Wait, is it even Hourglass though? I think it's okay. It is 2 Akshan stacks, and like our open attack with Akshan is also kind of threatening to our opponent.
This is justice.
What would I copy at this point? Probably a Vagabond. Crystal is a bit risky against Concerted Strike. But if my opponent uses Concerted here, I'm also happy, and I can use second Hourglass. I think I just want these guys off of the board, just in case my opponent found Dragon's Clutch or some dragon. Wild. But wait to copy Horde. Is copying Horde even better than copying the Crystal though? It probably is a bit better, but not a must for sure. Oof. Hello there, big dragon. I mean, Archivist should already have decent odds of finding Crystal.
We can always rely on you to keep us safe.
What is Horde getting? I mean, Horde is just getting more combo cards, but ultimately we would want more crystals off of Horde anyway, right? So might as well just copy crystals in the first place, I think. That's a level Shyvana.
Now I take to the sky.
It's not safe.
Time to spam some crystal. Ah, nice. I'm pretty sure we're going for the draw next turn off of Warlord's Horde. Okay, so now that we top deck the Crystal, I think we should play Archivist first and then go for the discount. Because there's a possibility that the next 2 draws are also going to be Crystals and that the Archivist then whiffs.
I think we have something on that case.
So it's not perfectly mana efficient, but we probably won't need the additional mana anyway. In this case, okay. Just pop all of these in. We'll play 2 crystals here, right, to remove this. Don't predict, mess up top deck crystal. I mean, we already drew the 3 crystals that we saw off of Archivist, right? If I'm not mistaken. Might have missed one of the crystals, but I think we're still fine in that case. So Hourglass on this is useless. GG. That was a lovely round, wasn't it? Just need to call out the cards you need, and the game abides. Obliges, rather. Rope God. Uh-oh. I'm kind of afraid. I like keeping Vagabond. I think everything else can go. We want Ekko later on. But we want one of the Akshan landmarks for sure. Uh-oh. Oh no, he's holding through to his name.
Don't want to die? Don't do terrible things.
How is he not banned? This is so obvious. Well, let's see if he just trolls people for a bit of, or if he perma ropes every round.
Look at them shaking in their boots. Ah, villains beware.
Maybe he just does it to make some people instantly concede on turn 1. I mean, it's technically plus EV to do that. It will boost your ladder win rate. Now, is it ethical? Definitely not. Is it a cool thing to do? Absolutely not. But if your only goal is to have a high win rate, it's kind of smart. It will slow your climb. That's true, but maybe your opponent is not thinking about climbing in the first place, right? Ah, that's annoying. So I like using Vagabond to get another landmark later on. I think it's this into open attack and not play a unit. I could Archivist now, but Archivist is better after we shuffled the deck already, right? Skip.
Make this a night to remember.
I feel like at this point this could be a consideration. Just because it might take us a while to find the crystal. And this is a good combo with Archivist and so on. I think I like it. More predicts to level Ekko. How do we do this now? We just insta-predict again? Or do we want to play Archivist first? No, I want to play Vagabond this turn, right? Man, that's an interesting way of leveling Ekko quickly. Okay, but at this point we don't really need more relics. I don't know, it's still the best choice, right? It gives us the highest odds of finding a cat or an Akshan or a crystal, which is what we're currently looking for. Oh, the stun though. So I need to invest a shaped stone here. Or I could have gone for a Sandstone Charger. Oh no, okay, I play Akshan now. It's done Akshan and then I play Vagabond, right? Roping Rope God.
We are what we do.
Hey, sometimes you gotta give them a taste of their own medicine.
I do not break rules. I bend them slightly. Leave them nothing.
Okay, not investing the stun. Interesting. What if he doesn't stun Akshan? Then we shaped Stone Block. Looks pretty good. I mean, then of course Akshan dies eventually, but he fulfills his purpose. He gives us the Horde and gets quite a couple of stacks.
There is still time to surrender. Just say, oh, please don't kill me. We are at war.
It's the best, one of the best voice lines in the game.
Oh, God. Cool iPad.
You like it? I mean, shut up and fight!
Ooh, Hourglass could be really good. Would blocking with the kitty have been an option? Yeah, but we miss out on an Akshan stack. Like, it's an option. The thing is, I don't think it's that valuable to keep Akshan at full HP. Like, most of the time, you just need one Warlord Sword to win the game. Especially with the value-driven hand that we already have. Also makes our attack here worse. But it's a consideration. Like, there is definitely some benefit to keeping Akshan healthy. Okay. So I keep this back as a fearsome blocker.
Simpleton.
Simpleton. Simpleton is like the most educated diss that I've heard in a while.
Need more time.
What does Ekko need to be good? To be honest, he just needs more PNZ predict cards so that you can play him in other region combinations outside of just Shurima. Like, the quicker level up was a step in the right direction, but I'm not sure if it's enough on its own. Okay. That's a flock that doesn't hit Ekko at least. Hopefully. Okay, no other flock, let's go.
That's new. You're provoking it.
Xenotype, spicy.
Saying calling card from our other case.
This is just time trick, but cheap.
What does it mean?
Before playing this, I should copy the Archivist and get it again. It's probably the highest value predict we can find. Sorry, the highest value Archivist thing. Spell, besides the crystal himself. Itself. Jesus, English is hard sometimes.
What's the motive?
What about iterating Xenotype, actually? It's a bit too hot of a take, isn't it? Like, if we were that desperate, we would just main deck it ourselves.
Let me get you that fire.
Now, where's that crystal? Oof. I should abuse my powers a bit more often, seriously. I mean, Archivist is not the nuts find, but it's high value. I think I like it. Talking about high value. All right. Let's open up with discounting everything. I think there's almost no way we don't win this turn. We can predict into Archivist. That's nasty. Oh, Cat though. We don't really need any of those. Shapestone would be nice to have on top of the deck for 0 mana, but it's not really what we're looking for. Okay, that makes me regret my choices a little bit, but not too much. Oh, develop, like, not open attacking might have been a mistake here. I might have to swing first and then look for chrono breaks. Even though if my opponent plays Guile, I put Crystal on this stack, it's also quite devastating for them. But I did miss one predict there. Although this is also pretty good, actually, now that I think about it. Like, the crystal punishes the guy very effectively. Ooh la la! Low value rally, but I think we take it.
See you a few minutes ago.
See you a few minutes ago. Ekko just sounds like he has been watching too much Inception. Steel Pebble, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Congrats, Nepo. Wait, Nepo. Any chess enthusiasts in here? Chess World Championship soon. Nepo versus Magnus Carlsen. I think we just rally this round. Sandstone Charger. Yeah. Double rally? Double rally, let's go. Wait, Chrono Break with Sandstone Charger is kind of nuts. So this tanks a Ravenous Flock? Or we still get 2 hits then? This is such a nasty turn. After we already had a very nasty turn earlier on with the Warlord Sword. GG. I didn't even have to predict there. There's nothing my opponent can do to stop this at 0 mana. Alright, let's see if Rope God fulfills his prophecy here. Oh, you didn't rope us! Let's go. A person of honor. Gotta respect it. There are a lot of ways you could set up combos, right? It's a really, really cool deck. Scrying Sands is great for Lurk. Could look more aggressively for the cat, though. But it's a bit too good to not take it.
Go get the shiny devil.
Hopefully the November update has arcane stuff and echo support. That would be super cool. So if I Scrying Sands block this, there's a... Like, I get to open attack with Akshan again and get an additional stack. But we keep a unit on the board. I think that's worth it, though. I think that's worth it. We have to open attack before opponent plays something like Rek'Sai Caller.
We got it first.
Interesting block here. Quite peculiar. Might be an Hourglass on Akshan kind of turn. Yeah, I like it. Do we go copies on the predict thing again? Or are we more patient this time? Like, the copies are much better on either the Warlord's War Treasure or, of course, on the crystal itself. Okay. What if we let Akshan flip here? Vagabond allows us to kill the Rek'Sai Caller. I think I like it.
Cool eye back. You like it? Talk is worthless. We are what we do.
I think I keep the copies this time. As cute as this is, like, it's very good for turbo leveling Ekko. It's good for finding more combo pieces, I suppose. But I'm pretty sure that this is originally intended to be a combo tool for just the crystal. Do we ever value trade? Probably not, right?
Not a chance.
Et voila. We will be popping off. Curator isn't bad here. Unleveled Echo feels kind of bad. It's fine. Our opponent also doesn't have real removal for him, so... we counterfeit immediately. Because we might also top deck a crystal at this point.
Things aren't gonna improve themselves.
It's annoying. I don't have mana to use Time Trick this turn anyway. But I might also just wait for the crystal, right? Yeah, make use of the crystal.
This is my future.
Nice. I think sacrificing an Ekko here is actually fine. Cat into another Ekko.
I love that.
Cat into Archivist. Both seem fine. I start off with Cat Predict first. Just to get the crystal from the bottom of my deck somewhere into the middle or the top, ideally. So Archivist has higher odds of finding more crystals. Talking about crystals. Wait, Hourglass against Pyke spell, maybe? I don't mind it. Bone Skewer isn't real, it can't hurt us. No, but to be honest, Bone Skewer wouldn't even be good for our opponent. Like, they invest a 2 mana card and take a 5 mana unit off of the board. Okay, this flips Ekko. Let's go. Looks like a skip to me. Vagabond is okay.
We can always rely on you to keep us safe. Future is whatever I make.
Main decking Bone Skewer is so bad in Lurk. I've seen quite a couple of people do it though. Play one crystal here into attack. Looks good.
I do my own stunts.
Could just take out the Pyke easily next turn though. I wonder if you'd ever want to put like 1 or 2 practical perfectionists into the deck. But maybe just counterfeit copies is good enough already. Alright, let's go. I have to watch out for Rite of Negation, so I want to play one of the Rek'Sai crystals right now. Like, Rite of Negation is the only way I lose here. Can't use the Perfectionist on the crystals. That's a good point. We could only use it on the landmark cards. But then only after we shuffle them with counterfeit. Yeah, it's probably not worth it. You guys are right. Spell Shield. That's hot. But no mana for Rite of Negation anymore.
Listen to me.
Looks like a win to me. This is really funny at shutting down Pyke, though, at never letting him get any level up damage. GG. I'm really enjoying this deck. Feels like it has a lot of player agency and skill expression.